Welcome. The Cuban army is reportedly preparing for a possible conflict with the US. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates might join a war against Iran. China is getting ready for underwater warfare with the US. The main candidate for US leadership on Iran has been announced. Cuban military is preparing for a possible US attack. NBC News reported this, citing the country's Deputy Foreign Minister, Carlos Fernandez de Casio. Carlos Fernandez said Cuban officials can't ignore the possibility of conflict. Our military is always ready, and currently, he said they're preparing for the possibility of a military attack. The deputy minister emphasized that the Cuban leadership hopes such an event won't happen. They stressed they see no reason or justification for a military conflict. Tensions between the US and Cuba have increased after the US military operation in Venezuela. In that operation, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who was closely allied with Cuba, was captured. After that, US President Donald Trump and the state Congressman Marco Rubio warned that another military intervention in Cuba could happen. He said that if he lived in Havana and was part of the government, he would be worried. In January, Trump announced that sanctions would be imposed on goods from countries selling or supplying oil to Cuba. Right now, the island nation is suffering daily power outages because of the US blockade. Specifically, on March 21st, Cuba's entire electrical grid went down, leaving the country without power for the third time. Fernandez de Casio emphasized that the oil blockade is a result of the US's aggression against Cuba. The US has threatened countries that export fuel to Cuba with mandatory sanctions. Because of this, Cuba hasn't been able to get fuel for a long time. It's a really tough situation, and we're doing everything we can to find a way out. We hope that, one way or another, fuel will reach Cuba. The blockade the US is enforcing won't last forever, he said. Deputy Minister of Affairs. Trump claimed it would collapse soon and said it could be brought under control. In response, Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel stressed that the country is ready for any attack. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates might join a fight against Iran. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are getting closer to joining a war against Iran. This was reported by the Zivos Journal. It said these countries are taking this stance because of Iranian attacks. It's getting more intense. The military conflict is hurting the economies of Persian Gulf countries and giving Tehran a chance to establish long-term control over the Strait of Hormuz. Saudi Arabia has allowed U.S. forces to use its King Fahd airbase. Earlier, the kingdom had said it wouldn't allow attacks against Iran from its land or airspace. But once Iran started hitting Saudi energy facilities and airports with missiles and drones, that stance changed. Things have changed. Right now, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is close to deciding to strike back and join the attacks. The kingdom going to war is just a matter of time. Saudi Arabia's patience with Iranian attacks isn't unlimited. Any idea that GCC countries can't respond is nonsense, said Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan to reporters last week. His statement came after a series of attacks on energy infrastructure in the Persian Gulf states. The United Arab Emirates is stepping up pressure on Iranian-linked assets. The country might cut off important financial flows to Iran's financial system. On March 23rd, in Dubai, an Iranian hospital and an Iranian club were shut down. The hospital's phone numbers, WhatsApp channel, and website stopped working. Dubai health authorities said the facility is no longer operating. The UAE has long been a key financial hub for Iranian businesses, but now they're warning that billions of dollars of Iranian assets could be frozen. These measures could seriously limit Tehran's currency earnings and its access to global trade systems. At the same time, inflation and the pressure from sanctions in the country are getting worse. Official statements say that the Gulf Cooperation Council countries won't take part in attacks against Iran. But in reality, things might be different. According to some reports, some missile strikes against Iran were carried out from Bahrain. China is getting ready to fight the US in the South China Sea. Dozens of Chinese research ships are busy mapping the seafloor in strategically important areas of the South, East, and North China Seas. This info could be used for military purposes. That's what Reuters reported. Military naval experts explain that with this data, China can create detailed underwater maps of where submarines might operate in case of war, especially around the Dongfang research area, by 2024 to 2025. In recent years, it has been patrolling around Taiwan, the coasts of Guam, and strategic parts of the Indian Ocean. Officially, it's been focused on geological research and studying seabed formations. But according to the publication, the detailed underwater mapping data actually lets China keep an eye on its enemies. The Transparent Ocean Project, started by the Chinese Academy of Oceanography, includes hundreds of buoys that track water temperature, salinity, and currents, as well as underwater sensor networks monitoring strategically important areas. The waters near the Philippine, Guam, and Hawaiian Islands, as well as access to the Indian and Malacca Straits, are covered. Chinese scientists and the government are calling the project scientific, but official documents show it's important for maritime defense and security. Just to remind you, earlier reports said China is developing a new generation of nuclear weapons and may have conducted at least one secret test in recent years. Akish is key for Iran's leadership. The candidate has been announced. The Akish president's administration reportedly sees Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, as a partner for talks and even as the country's potential new leader, according to Politica's sources. However, insiders say no decision has been made about Ghalibaf yet. The president's administration plans to put several candidates through a stress test. Notably, the list of candidates does not include the son of Iran's last Shah, Reza Pahlavi. According to his associates, Okwo and his people at home are considering a Venezuela-style scenario. They want someone to come to power who has support within the country and is willing to compromise with the US. At the same time, experts are skeptical about the Iranian parliament speaker's supposed loyalty to the US. Ghalibaf is an ambitious and pragmatic guy, but he's also a firm supporter of keeping the Islamic regime intact. That makes it less likely he'd be the kind of candidate to make any major concessions to Washington, says Alavois, the lead analyst on Iran at the International Crisis Group.